an experience.
The country's not about anything other than money. I mean, we just abandon every value other than profit maximization and the bottom line. And
that's what people need to understand about all this woke shit.
Yes.
It's really not about changing culture.
Yeah, it's about money. I mean,
it's about power.
I was just looking. It's funny. There's a big article in the New York Times today about inside an Amazon warehouse, right?
Hold on. I'm going to tweet this out. Joe Rogan is having some left-leaning content creators on this week. So we're back to watching his shit.
And Amazon was the first to say Black Lives Matter and put that banner up on their page and everything. And look, I support a lot of goals of that movement. But you read through this article and you find out, first of all, the way they treat their largely black and brown warehouse workers, I mean, it's despicable. They intentionally make sure they cannot move up the ladder. Right? That's part of their business policy is if you're an hourly worker, you're not going to get promoted. And they try to force you out after 3 years because they think you're getting lazy. So this is the company that can, on the surface level, say Black Lives Matter because they think that's good for their profit maximization and their brand and their shareholder value. At the same time, what they're actually doing in real life, wildly different than that. So
and they specifically target black and brown people?
Well, they target their warehouse workers who are, so the warehouse workers are 50-some% black and brown. Management is 50-some, is overwhelmingly white and Asian.
I thought the whole thing about Amazon was that you could move up the ladder.
Nope. Walmart, who I'm also not a fan of, they actually promote from within. So most Walmart managers start out as hourly employees. So at least they have a track up. And again, I'm not a fan of Walmart, okay? Amazon intentionally, and this is what the New York Times revealed, they intentionally have a system because Bezos said he believes that these human beings are lazy and that after, that they're going to do the bare minimum.
Was quoted saying this? Bezos was quoted saying they're lazy?
I'll find
or Jamie, if you can fold it.
Yeah,
I think there's a difference between lazy and having a shitty job.
Exactly
people need to
right.
understand that.
And you're treated like a robot and a cog day in and day out. You're fired. Yeah. Like, if you are a little bit slow on your tasks, you might get fired by a freaking app. Like, that's how dehumanizing it is.
Let's explain to people don't understand how it works over there. Does anybody want to explain?
Yeah, I mean, they work in the right. So they have phones that are on there. Everything's tracking your movements, steps, bathroom breaks as well. So the warehouses are also very large. So let's say you technically have a 20-minute break. It might take you 10 minutes to actually walk to the break room and back. So you actually have, like a 2-minute break while you're in there. And the whole thing around Amazon and why everyone should care is because Amazon, under the pandemic, exploded. Their stock price went up from, I think, 1,000 or so to a couple 3,000. Bezos personally, his wealth increased by $70 billion. Amazon is now the second largest employer in the United States. And this is incredibly important because as more Amazon market adoption happens, they are basically going to become the employer of choice. Whatever your grocery store or whatever was in your small town, these are the rural working class Americans. This is their only job. So when you have one company which has all of this overwhelming power over rural working Americans and even suburban Americans, because this is Amazon's strategy. Dayton, Ohio is a good example. Alec McGillis, he wrote a great book on Amazon, shout out to him, talked about how Dayton was like this Silicon Valley of America in the 1900s, manufacturing, middle-class jobs. Now, Dayton's prized economic value comes from the fact that it's 1 day's drive from 1/3 of the U.S. population. So it's a great place for cardboard. So everybody there is all just involved in creating cardboard and other Amazon infrastructure. So the Amazonification, so to speak, or whatever, of America makes it so that if, let's say 30 years ago, you grew up in your town, you may have to go to Walmart, H-E-B, we're here, I grew up here in Texas, Kroger as well, McDonald's, something like that. Now it's basically like McDonald's, Dairy Queen, and Amazon. And when Amazon is the prime market employer, they are the sole determiner of market conditions increasingly. So it's Walmart and Amazon, which are number two. And we're talking about millions of people who are now working at this company. So people are like, why do you guys talk so much about Amazon? Because I can see the trends. This company's not going anywhere. Look, props to them. Like I love Amazon. Like I order a lot of stuff on Amazon, but increasingly becoming aware of the price of what it takes to do overnight delivery to your house at 4 a.m. in the morning, or increasingly becoming aware of the fact that they are basically on this mission to drive price down as much as possible and squeeze as much out of their workforce. That is where it's trouble. What was the furniture thing that we just covered?
Yeah,
this was crazy.
Well, and did you see their delivery drivers are so like the demands are so intense they're having to pee in bottles and shit in bags.
Right.
I don't get why like Sagar, who has like this level of understanding of Amazon, is still like a capitalist. Then it doesn't make sense. I mean, it does make sense. It's because it's a grift, but still.
And they admit
shit in bags.
Literally.
Yeah,
that's where I draw the line. I don't really care if a guy has to pee in a bottle, but if a gal has to pee in like a dog bowl,
right? That's
I'm like,
bad.
this seems
I mean,
wrong.
And this
that's
happened
the thing
publicly.
is like, I would like to click the button that's like, I'll pay a little bit more if you can promise me no driver had to shit in a bag in order to get this to me tomorrow.
We kind of glossed over that.
Guys, Chipotle had to increase its price by 4% in order to pay their employees more. I don't know if you're aware of this, but you're literally advocating for mass genocide of people who love Chipotle when that sort of thing happens as a consequence of workers getting higher wages, which, by the way, they could have done so. They just wanted to, maintain their profit margin. I am no longer a leftist.
This thing where you said that Jeff
yeah,
Bezos
so
said
I got
that
the
people
quote.
are
So
lazy.
here's what the New York Times says. Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, did not want hourly workers to stick around for long, viewing a large disgruntled workforce as a threat. This other executive recalled who worked at Amazon but then left. Company data showed that most employers became less eager over time, he said, and Mr. Bezos believed people were inherently lazy. What he would say is that our nature as humans is to expend as little energy as possible to get what we want or need. That was embedded throughout the business.
You want to know something that's ironic? Capital owners know every single fucking line and detail demonstrated as far as like class contradictions, as far as demonstrating class solidarity, like every single line in fucking Das Kapital. Capital owners are very well aware of, especially because like Marxist theory is originally descriptive of capitalism. And they understand it and they recognize it. Like what he's talking about here basically just means like workers are of course going to want to work the least amount of time for the most amount of pay.
From the ease of instant ordering to the pervasive use of data to get the most out of employees. So guaranteed wage increases stop after 3 years, and Amazon provided incentives for low-skilled employees to leave. So every year they would offer associates thousands of dollars to resign. They made sure that any position, they gave people sort of the illusion of promotions being available.
This is to prevent unionization, right? To ensure that like workers are
Pogo tomato time.
This is the innovation under capitalism. This is a good thing. These people should just make a business. How are you so dumb? You didn't even know it's the top of the hour ad break, baby. Fuck! Oh my god, dude. What the fuck is happening, dude? It's like fucking chatters are now doing ad breaks for me. Okay, respect. If you'd like to no longer see the ads, boys, you already know. You can subscribe.
Got him.
For $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime, or you can use an ad block. Or you could use a VPN. Here's a 1 minute ad break now. Nameless King memers have been replaced by, did you just advertise Amazon? Fuck yeah, I advertise Amazon. My fucking corporate overlords, dude. I love them. They've done nothing wrong. They can never do anything wrong.
Putin.
Missing the days when the ad breaks actually happened at the top of the hour. It never literally happened at the top of the hour. It would happen like 15 minutes after the top of the hour. And it's because you guys would remind me. And now I like to do it earlier because I like to fuck with you and catch you off guard as like a fun little game. But now I'm like more aware of when it's coming because I want to like gamify it. There's nothing fun about surprise capitalism. Shut up.
Always wins.
Anyway, top of the hour is a lot more fun when you're subbed LMAO. Yeah, exactly. This shit reminds me of how that famous serial killer H.H. Holmes hired a bunch of rotating carpenters to build certain things in his murder mansion so he could scam them out of money.
Let's go.
But then there'd be one promotion available for hundreds of people. And they very seldom hire management from within their own ranks. It's like they view us, it's totally class stratified is basically the bottom line. And of course, lower classes in America are disproportionately black and brown. It's not like they're specifically targeting black and brown people, but you have one class of people that they see that as worthy of doing the grunt work and shitting in the bag, and one class of people that they think of is worthy of like actually having the more intellectual jobs and running the place. It's, you know, it's a really abhorrent way of viewing human beings, essentially. And so this is part of the kind of, again, rot of America that I also think is reflected with the John Cena thing, et cetera. It's like, you're certainly more of a capitalist than I am, but you can't have a country where the only freaking value is money. Like,
No.
it's just you see the sickness of people who have all these addictions and are last year was the worst year on record for overdose deaths. You see the suicide rates spike. I mean, you see people who just feel like they have no meaning and no purpose and no ground.
The John Cena thing is like when, what was it? When he had to like apologize to China?
Last year was
wait,
the
hold
worst
on.
year.
Where was, I gotta find it. It's very funny. What the fuck?
Star and former pro wrestler John Cena has touched off an international controversy.
Cena apologized to the people of China after calling Taiwan a country during a promotional interview with a Taiwanese broadcaster.
Taiwan is a country. I mean, it's an independent country. John Cena is not alone in Hollywood in towing that line.
我必须说，现在就是很重要。
Bro, it's really good. Like, am I crazy that his like Mandarin's like fucking good, dude?
我爱更尊重中国，更中国人。
A Late Show has acquired the full apology.
你好，中国，这是叫西呢。我做很多。
Wait, this is gonna be a meme.
Yep.
He's been learning Mandarin to break into the Chinese market for films and WWE. Wait, is he a white monkey?
Subbed for 11 months.
I mean, maybe. I don't think so, but I think he's trying to be a little bit. He's had videos for years. Bro, you can make a fuckload of money in the Chinese market, dude. White monkey is a term for like failed actors and failed white actors and shit that go to China, that like YouTubers and influencers and shit, they go to China and then they like learn Mandarin and they do like kind of just like really, yeah, Bart Baker is a good example of this. Like they just fucking put themselves in very embarrassing positions to make money. This is xenophobia. Good one. I can't shit on John Cena, dude. He's dope. He used to live in China and has spoken Mandarin for quite some time. Yeah, maybe he's not then.
What's interesting about this is the normalcy of it. Keep in mind, this is the longest time I've been in one place in 15 years. So I live in Yinchuan, technically, and I'll be here for another 2 months, spanning all of 5 months in the same bed, in the same place. So the touristy things wear down and you begin to just do normal stuff. What do you do for fun? We'll go to the mall and kick it and see what there is to do. What do you do when you want to go to get something to eat? I have my favorite restaurants. I have my favorite drink places. So this is just kind of a peek into the normalcy of life. And that's kind of what I wanted to showcase in these little videos.
Dude, this is kind of cool, dude. He took 2 years of Chinese lessons to promote WWE in China. I'm definitely not a John Cena fan anymore. I'm Taiwanese. I mean, it's kind of cute that he's like, I don't know. I just can't hate on John Cena. I don't know why. He does make a lot of Make-A-Wish stuff for kids and charity work. He's a nice guy. Yeah, John Cena, more like John China. Got him. Cena and the CCP want you to think this is cute. This is propaganda. Oh, damn. The normal life in China is easier than in America for sure. Public transportation is so good. Yeah, good luck to the chatters who are shitting on John Cena. He literally might be behind you right now. So get ready. Get ready for that.
You're on record for overdose deaths. You see the suicide rate spike. I mean, you see people who just feel like they have no meaning and no purpose and no grounding and no community. And all the life being sucked out of these human beings in these communities. It's just disgusting.
Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free.
Okay, so let's watch Fauci gain of function research and the Wuhan lab funding. So Krystal and Sagar both had they had some decent takes on the Amazon shit. So let's take a look at what kind of indecent takes they're gonna have here.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
And it's not just China. And this is the theory about the thing about the lab leak and why I actually want to deculture. You had Josh Rogan on, and he did some excellent job.
Really good job.
That guy's amazing.
What he expertly shows is if this is true, the lab leak hypothesis is true. Yes, the Chinese covered it up. Guess what? The Chinese are liars, and they covered up SARS, and they've covered up basically everything that's come out of their country for the last like 30 years. That's not a shock.
Oh, Jesus Christ, dude. Damn, bro, dial it back a little bit, dude. God damn, he's just like, dude, this is only acceptable because, and I talked about this on the podcast earlier today with Will. It's like America is a dying empire, and they feel that there's an existential threat that they're getting from the other competing superpower that is like pushing towards becoming the hegemonic power, which is China. So it is seen as like completely acceptable to just say stuff like this. Like being a China hawk is just like a completely acceptable position. Much like, you know, being a Red Scare McCarthyist during the Cold War and onwards was also acceptable. It's just, this is what it is. There will be a war over Taiwan. Dude, no fucking shot, dude. If that was the case, then America would acknowledge Taiwan. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that's so stupid, dude. That is literal bullshit, okay? No fucking shot. First of all, there will never be a like actual hot war with China. There will be war in Africa, okay? against, there will be proxy wars in Africa against, like, you know, Chinese installments or whatever. There will be a Cold War at the most. That's why nobody visits Turkey, says Slav Comrade. Nobody visits Turkey. Turkey is a pretty fucking beefy ass tourism industry. What the fuck are you talking about? My man said nobody visits Turkey. There's a gigantic medical tourism that happens in Turkey for the plastic surgeons and also like hair transplants and shit. And there's also just tourism in general.
Shocker is Dr. Anthony Fauci, 2017, reverses the ban on gain-of-function research, directs this funding to EcoHealth Alliance, Dr. Peter Daszak, who then gives it to the Wuhan Institute of Virology for the study of novel bat coronaviruses. And then when the pandemic turns around, we take Dr. Peter Daszak as the only American to join the World Health Organization's investigation team into whether coronavirus leaked from a lab. And on 60 Minutes, I forget who was interviewing him. She goes, well, wait, so how did you verify it? Did you just ask them? And he goes, well, what else can we do? Because he's also half British. And that's how he goes, well, what else can we do? Oh, we could read emails. We could also see that Peter Daszak, as of 2 days ago, has been caught lying. He said there were no live bats inside of the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Sky News Australia just revealed 2017 video that bats were present inside the Wuhan Institute of Virology, and the deputy director says, before this, China had no experience in BSL-4 laboratory. That's the highest level safety for a laboratory, but we have been here, and I don't forget, I don't want to misquote him, but he said something along the lines of creating new viruses, synthesizing new viruses. And what Fauci and Dr. Shi, who's the head of the Wuhan Institute of Virology, they're playing fucking games. Fauci and Rand Paul, when Rand Paul was pressing him, he was like, we did not fund gain-of-function research. He's trying to define it as explicitly what is on the record as him funding. Dr. Shi is the same thing. We were not doing gain-of-function research.
So this is
here
actually
at the lab.
this is amazing. I don't know if you caught. She did an email interview with the New York Times, which was mostly, I mean, it was just, you know, the standard like state party line from China. But they asked her about gain-of-function research, and I'm sure your listeners mostly know that gain-of-function research is basically modifying these to see how can we make these pathogens more dangerous, right? And it's in and of itself very dangerous because these things do leak from labs relatively routinely. And she says,
relatively routinely. Okay, gain-of-function research. What the fuck? Dude. The entire purpose of gain-of-function research is so that we have, like, so that we're well prepared for potential mutations. And no, it does not fucking leak relatively routinely. Like, these are some pretty fucking big mistakes to make when you're on a platform like this. Like, I don't know what Hasan doesn't get, bro. Not all of the scientists in the world are nice. What? Bro, that is literally like a 12-year-old brain, dude. You have a 12-year-old's brain. You think there's evil scientists that are like, haha, we will destroy the world. Oh, this is so good. Like, not even 12 years old, dude. You think mad scientists are the ones who are like, fuck me, dude. Why would we want to do research that will help us fight against potentially more harmful viruses in the future? Just think about that for a second.
I didn't even know I was subbed.
Just think about that for a second.
Not regretting it. Yet.
Like, please.
Hassle.
Things do not routinely leak, and gain of function is typically used to find unique medical applications because, let's face it, that's where the money is. Explain Raccoon City. Motherfuckers think like, you know, this is like Umbrella Corps, dude. Which is cool. And it's like fun to think about it that way. But the real world is like significantly, I know, okay, no, I know this is sarcasm. I know. But the real world is not as cool, unfortunately. Like, motives can be described with something significantly more easy to describe, which is just making money, or another motivation like pride. You know what I mean? It's not like someone is evil and or that like China was genetically modifying viruses because there's like mad scientists there and they like leaked it on purpose or whatever the fuck. You don't think scientists look out for their own self-interest and are willing to lie? I mean, I do think scientists look out for their own interests, but like, do you think the international scientific community that was completely unrelated to like the Wuhan Virology Institute looked at the potential mutations or human interference in the genetic code of this viral strain and found that you know, there was no human there was no human interference in it, specifically to like defend the international scientific community as a whole or something? Like, are they all lying? You sound like a flat earther at that point. Yes, Fauci controls all of their funding. Oh, I didn't realize that Anthony Fauci controlled all the funding of all the scientific research that has ever existed on the fucking planet. That's crazy. That's wild, dude. He's the puppet master, dude. This is real. This is verging on Italiophobia, and I will not allow it. I'm just going to come out and say it.
Jammies.
I don't know, man. It really fucking weirds me out that like so many liberals are jumping on board with like borderline Q-style conspiracies here. People are getting like one step removed from the pandemic with some of these fucking takes, dude. At most, what occurred is gain-of-function research that that leaked on accident out of a fucking virology institute that was not following the protocols as best as they should have. That's like the most extreme scenario that would prove the lab leak hypothesis, and that's it. Anything beyond that is psychotic. I don't trust China at all, but at the same time, I don't believe these scientists are that dumb. LMAO. I think it's crazy to not think it leaked out of the lab. Why is that crazy? Like, motherfuckers have no... Okay. The problem here is that people can't comprehend how diseases spread from animal to animal. So it sounds far-fetched, which is precisely why you think like... Wait, what? Please tell the coronavirus has the spike protein which mutates adapting according to the environment. There are 65,000 mutations, but the media filters out down to a few to focus on. I only know this because I'm a medical scientist. Like, people think that coronavirus is only studied in like Wuhan or some shit. That's not true. Or people think that coronavirus is a new virus. It's not. If you talk to like fucking dudes who own farms, like they were aware of the vaccines that you have to give their own fucking cattle in order to make sure that they don't get fucking COVID for years. Coronavirus isn't new. It's not. What's new here is that this specific strain was able to jump from COVID. This specific strain was able to jump from animals to humans, which is usually when shit starts popping off, like SARS before it, and that's why it's SARS-CoV-19 or SARS-CoV-2. Sorry. I didn't like the second thought video on the lab leak stuff, to be honest with you. I didn't like it. I thought it was like too fear-mongering. Anyway, having said that, having said all of that, who made you the expert on this? I'm not an expert on this at all, which is why I resort to expert analysis when I'm talking about it. Okay? But it is completely understandable to study both bats, which are very common transmitters of genetic mutation to other animals. And it's also very understandable that the Wuhan Institute, which is in an incredibly population-dense area, which is, again, understandable to have a fucking virology institute there, would be studying both bats and also coronavirus in general. As Asimov Ex Machina also correctly points out, why does Wuhan have a lab designed for studying coronavirus? Almost like China had a coronavirus outbreak in 2002 to 2004 with SARS so they could try and prevent future ones. Yes.
We were not doing gain of function research because what we were doing wasn't making it more virulent or dangerous. It was seeing if it could jump from species to species. I'm sorry, isn't that like the definition of making it more dangerous for us? Seeing if you can make it jump into our species? Like, that seems like that's pretty dangerous. So they're trying to play these games.
So, okay, so this is the area where like both me and Krystal are completely out of our depths to talk about. Okay? And it's like it's no different than when chatters are backseating, okay? It's just ridiculous to like have this sort of take. I'm sorry. Like, you read an article about gain of function research that was like fear-mongering, most likely, some of which were written by like actual weirdo think tank people that just want to fearmonger against China in general, or have their own personal reasons for why they're writing the shit that they're writing. And then you adopt that position and you just like fucking blurt it out without looking into it any further. The U.S. funded the fucking lab, did they not? The U.S. funds labs all around the world. Of course they're going to continuously fund labs that are engaging in this sort of research. It's for potential prevention in the future. They're studying viruses. This is what fucking scientists do. That's what you do. It's not like, it's not suspicious even remotely. But the reason why people make it seem like it's suspicious is because they just don't, they literally lose a part of their fucking brain that makes it seem as though like funding, you know, the international community of scientists that are like funding projects in other countries, specifically as it pertains to epidemiology, is somehow a conspiracy and something to be skeptical over. You see what I'm saying?
I'm saying it's not technically gain of function.
How does
research.
Fauci get away with standing there under oath and saying
media, right? It's,
100%.
it's all media pressure,
Well,
which is he's the god.
It's the anti-Trump derangement syndrome, right? Fauci was put up as like the anti-Trump guy, and he became.
I don't even disagree with some of these takes. Like, I do think that Fauci was propped up as like a deity, and he was seen as like the counterweight to like Trump's idiocy. And liberals love making like heroes out of motherfuckers, like they did with you know, another Italian. Motherfucking Cuomo, what you doing? Right? Like they did that against Trump as well. So I don't disagree with those takes. I think that that is true. Did that motivate them to overlook a potential other hypothesis that was credible at the time? Yes. I think that, yeah, that is true. They should have been they should have covered the potential lab leak theory beyond just saying like Donald Trump is pushing it. Right? Fauci's a god figure, not a trained medical expert. What are you talking about? What? No, the promotion of Fauci was definitely like beyond. It was mythologized. It was definitely beyond like just that this is like a medical expert and we need to listen to him. He was seen as like the intelligent being in the Trump administration. He was certainly propped up. Motherfuckers got Fauci tattoos, bro. Get the fuck out of here. You were so outspoken about how dumb the lab leak theory was in the past, and now there's evidence. You just don't want to seem wrong for having such a strong opinion against it. Is that why I'm saying it's credible? What the fuck? The same amount of evidence for the lab leak theory exists for the other, like, animal transmission theory, which there is no evidence over. So that's the problem. And not only that, but I'm saying it's still credible. Like, it's still credible. And even acknowledging the blind side that I had as well as everyone else. But, like, it's still a fucking theory, dog. It's not the reality. You were saying it's credible now. Months ago, you were calling it conspiracy Trump bullshit. Yeah. There's more fucking evidence, I guess, for it. It's not actually evidence, though. It's still just as credible as the other theory. There is no fucking evidence. Like, it's just still another theory. I'm saying it's a credible one. The conspiracy that I was pushing back against is the fact that it was a bioweapon. Because motherfuckers marry the two ideas all the time, which is why the moment that I bring up that it's not a fucking bioweapon, half the chat jumps onto that conclusion and starts attacking me and saying it certainly was human modified. It certainly was engineered. The only thing that I defended against was that this notion that there was a human modification. Okay? That this was somehow modified by human beings. This virus was designed in a fucking lab. And the only reason for why I'm against it is not because I myself am like a microbiologist or something. It's because other medical professionals and PhD researchers very quickly looked into the genetic mutations and recognized that it had no human interference in the genetic code. And if tomorrow other credible scientists get together and say, this is wrong, we were originally wrong, then I will change my fucking position. And I will admit that I was wrong. Because it's not me. Like, I'm not the one who's looking at the genetic code, and neither are you. All I have is to look at the readily available evidence that is consumable. Okay? The term you're looking for is logically valid, not credible. Yeah. I do think it's logically valid for a potential lab leak to happen, just like I think it's logically valid for the bat pangolin theory. But there is a reason why these things take a fuckload of time. It takes like... It's not a theory, it's a hypothesis. Sure, whatever. Both are hypotheses. You should be more mad if I was sitting here being like, no, the fucking lab leak shit is like bullshit. It's bullshit. It's bullshit. Figuring out whether the virus can jump from one species to another seems like exactly what you do to determine if it's worth spending time and money on taking precautionary measures. Yeah. A lot of these super significant and super deadly viruses have jumped from different animals before finally arriving at human beings. So it is not fucking far-fetched. It seems dumb from our point of view, because we're laymen and idiots, to look at something like this and go, a bat interfered with a pangolin, and then from a pangolin this like jumped over to human beings? Like, shut up, dude. That's so fucking stupid. No, it's neatly wrapped up in a bow. It's the Umbrella Corporation style thing that the CCP was doing to murder white people in the Western societies because they were jealous of our economic prosperity. Like, yeah, I know. One gives you comfort. Okay, it gives you comfort. It's cool. It's like science fiction. But unfortunately, the truth is usually very boring. Okay?
Became this liberal icon. I mean, there are these signs in Washington, D.C. of people's yards. I don't know if you have them here, but it's literally his face on a sign and like, Thank you, Dr. Fauci.
Jesus.
This is what we're dealing with, Joe. This is what we're dealing with.
People are hero worship, right? And again, no one is above reproach. Every human being is flawed, and especially when you're in that kind of position of power and you have certain incentives, like you have to ask questions about these things. But there was another element too, and this was frankly an ingenious
We still don't know the natural source of HIV or Ebola. Does that mean those are also created in a lab? I mean, yeah, that's literally what some people actually believe. So... yes.
Play by the media and the scientific community is not only was it, oh, Trump and his band of wackos are the ones that are promoting this theory, but also that this theory is somehow racist. And the moment that the lab leak theory was pegged as racist, that's when it really became toxic for anyone in the mainstream to ask questions about, because you don't want to be...
What the fuck? I mean... they literally were saying this is the China virus or the Kung flu. Like, that shit wasn't actually for, you know, scientific skepticism. That's so weird, dude. Like, motherfuckers didn't want to go to Chinese restaurants to get, because they were worried you were going to get fucking COVID from Chinese food, bro. Like, what is this? What are we doing? Like, oh, was there a scientific purpose for that, dude?
Pegged as like, oh, well, you're just pursuing this racist conspiracy theory. And my thought has always been from the beginning.
I'm sorry, boys. Look, this is definitely something I've been advocating against since day one. And I still am 100% on board with this, with the words I said last year. And that is that, like, most of the time, for the overwhelming majority of people that are like, oh, it's the lab leak from Wuhan. It's the lab leak from Wuhan. It's not just about like an accident. It's also, there's a sense of like deliberately leaking this shit, or it always marries in or ties into like personally modifying a virus as a bioweapon. If you don't see that, you're fucking delusional. And that's precisely why every time I bring it up, people in the chat literally start saying, no, it is literally a bioweapon. You're fucking wrong. So that's why I have said what I said in the past and continue to say it. Okay? Stop defending China. Yeah, exactly. Like there is, people make it seem like there is some deadly intent behind this leak occurring. Okay? And it's simply the same. It has the exact same amount of fucking evidence as like a bat fucking a pangolin, okay? Or whatever the fuck the original theory is.
Like, first of all, we just need the answer, like, neutrally to look at what actually happened here. But second of all, if we're playing the which is more racist game, it seemed way worse to me when people were like, ooh, Chinese people eat bats and that's disgusting and they're so weird and that's how we all got this pandemic. That seemed to me way more problematic than the idea that a lab that, by the way, the USA is funding, that something leaked accidentally from that lab. So that was really the thing that put this all off the table, was this strategic weaponization of, you know, what is a very real problem of alleging racism.
50 Sales Rep says the logic makes no sense because why would China release it on its own citizens? Orientalism, my friend. Orientalist, xenophobic attitudes in America create this notion that like Chinese people are fucking demons that don't care about murdering their own citizens, and they will say that over and over again. Straight up, at the heart of every single person that says shit like that, investigate that sentiment a little bit further, and you will recognize that they just don't care. Like they'll say like Chinese people just don't care about Chinese people. There's too many of them, and they will blindly murder their own citizens just to get one off on Americans or some shit. See? Doesn't China kill more of its citizens every year than any other country? Says the motherfucker in America without healthcare, dude. Like, can you imagine being an American citizen that jails a larger percentage of its population than any other country on the planet, okay? That literally doesn't have fucking healthcare, that doesn't have free education at higher institutions, that literally turns around and says, like, China is killing all of their citizens, bro. They just don't care. They love killing their citizens, bro. They love killing their citizens. It's something that's super fun. Here's the problem, okay? First of all, we don't even have high-speed rail, okay? So shut the fuck up. At least they have that. Secondly, the problem with a quote-unquote bioweapon is how unpredictable it is. So even if China was building a bioweapon, they wouldn't fucking release it on their own citizens because you don't know how it's going to jump. Okay? Do you not understand that? If it was a fucking bioweapon, they wouldn't want to accidentally leak it onto their own people. Jesus Christ. Yeah, at least we don't have concentration camps for Muslims, says Amudho. I think you're joking, right? Like, I mean, we have concentration camps for brown people in the form of detention centers. And also on top of that, we have a torture chamber for Muslims. It's called Guantanamo Bay. And also on top of that, we've killed more Muslims overseas in other countries where they literally fucking live, rather than the Muslims in, inside of our borders. So there's that too. Not even remotely the same, dude. No, you're right. When I call someone a terrorist, it's different than when the Chinese government calls someone an extremist separatist. You're right. No, you're so right, dude. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that we were taking one imperial power's, word for whoever the fuck they've declared a terrorist, and the other one is actually wrong. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize this was the, again, American exceptionalism hour. Interesting, by the way, because for all the fucking dipshits who defend China on the cultural genocide of Uyghurs, Xi Jinping's argument for why they have to do what they have to do is literally that they are following on what America taught them with respect to dealing with Muslim extremists. So anyway,
It's the scientific community teamed up with the, well, basically they got the luckiest fucking break of their lives that Trump was president, because they teamed up with the media.
Not the same. You can call out both of us, sound like you're defending a piece of shit authoritarian state. Wait, what? What? If you think that I'm defending China and their re-education camps, it's kind of on you, my friend. That's your basic comprehension skills are not really there. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Because I'm not. And secondly, if you don't think that we have actual fucking concentration camps here in the form of immigration detention centers, then you're also delusional.
And they made it so that it was racist to...
You need to clarify. People think that you're defending both when your actual point is that both are bad. I mean, if you think that I'm defending either here, you're fucking stupid. Okay? I don't know what else to tell you. Like, if you think I'm defending either of these two, either of these two things, like, I don't know what to tell you. It, like, completely goes against my worldview.
Question. Even recently, the lead New York Times reporter on COVID tweeted and then deleted, are we ever going... Well, someday we will acknowledge the racist origins of the lab leak theory. New York Times reporter.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who was in charge of COVID.
Right.
This is still in their brains. They have brain worms because of Trump. And I was telling Krystal, because of Trump, 35% of this population... You could have smoking gun proof that lab leak theory was true. 35% of the population, hardcore Democrats who watch MSNBC, they'll never believe it. They'll always say that it's racist. And here's the problem, which this is the same problem with all Trump stuff. If this is true, we should be having a national conversation around gain-of-function research. We should have a Wuhan commission around gain-of-function research.
American involvement in Gitmo and the camps that border are on nowhere near the same scale as the Chinese oppression of Uyghurs. Yes, you are correct on that, which is precisely why whenever I talk about America's oppression of Muslims specifically, I routinely make mention of the fact that it's not just like, you know, Muslims in its own borders, but actually the widespread oppression, destabilization, death, destruction, maybe even genocide, that you could call it genocide as well, of Muslims living in the Middle East, which is, you know, a higher number than what China is doing to Uyghurs under their own sovereignty, which is still fucking horrific. Okay? This guy's not a leftist, chat. This is a right-winger who's like kind of anti-Trump, I think. But he loves Tucker Carlson.
Research. Instead, they want to do a January 6th commission in order to reconstruct the events of a day where we all fucking know what happened. Okay? It's over. We know. I'm not saying it wasn't terrible, but that is not what the driving conversation... What is it? Fucking... It's June 15th. Why are we still talking about January 6th? We should be talking right now. Did U.S. government funds explicitly directed towards novel coronavirus research, which led to the worst pandemic in a century and cost the global economy trillions of dollars? And as Josh is the first one to point out, the response from the scientific community has been we need more gain-of-function research, $1.2 billion to the Global Virome Project. And so once again, the scientific community wanted all of this covered up. They teamed up with the media.
Oh my God, dude, I'm sorry. This is literally fucking... Oh my God, dude, this is like freakishly Luddite, anti-science, and borderline like NASA is actually, dictating that the international scientific community lie that the Earth is actually fucking flat shit, okay? This is exactly the same thing that flat earthers say. This is exactly the same thing that flat earthers say. That or the Earth is flat, and also that the international scientific community is like lying to you. And they're all led by NASA. But instead, substitute NASA, swap out NASA for Anthony Fauci. And the Earth is flat isn't that the Earth is flat, but also like that science is purposely murdering us. That's crazy, man. That's fucking crazy, dude.
to protect their funding resources. Because what people forget, Fauci is actually the king of funding. The National Institute of Infectious Disease, I believe that's what NIAID, that's what he's in charge of. They are the primary funding authority for huge amounts of the scientific community. We had Dr. Brett Weinstein on our show, and he was explaining this to us, which is that if you're inside of that research system, you need access to those dollars to keep your lab afloat. Like, for my dad is a professor at Texas A&M, and so I know a little bit about funding, and like the way that you keep your tenure positions in a lot of these universities is you have to like continually bring funding in. So both my parents are professors there, and so like a lot of the professorial game is getting money from granting institutions. Now, in the science community, it's from the National Science Foundation, it's from the National Institute, or whatever. Fauci is the head of the National Institute of Health. They have to keep the dollars flowing. So if you admit this is gain of function research, you start asking questions, the NIH and Fauci can fucking cut you off. Like, this is a whole business.
Bro, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Dude, this is nuts, dude. Motherfucker said, my dad's a professor. I know these things. What is his dad a professor of? He's not wrong. Dude. This notion that like there would be an international cover-up because everyone's worried about like not getting NIH grants is so fucking stupid, dude. That's not how this works, man. Because the NIH isn't the only, the NIH isn't the only, or the NIAID isn't the only fucking institute that engages in public grants. Yeah, this guy is extremely correct. He's extremely correct, bro. It's a business, bro. That's why they're constantly fucking... That's why they're constantly, you know, hiding the truth, dude. That's why scientific research is like, you know, it never actually contradicts itself later down the line, you know, bro. Like, as though, like, American grants are the only fucking grants that people work off of. Like, that's it. My dad told me, bro. He's a fucking electrical engineering professor, bro. He told me, bro. Yeah, it has nothing to do with Fauci's grants, bro. But, hey, fucking, he knows, dude. Other scientists are telling him stuff, dude. This is literally the dumbest, most anti-science, stupid fucking take, dude. I'm sorry.
It's a
especially because, like, okay, here's why this is stupid, okay? Here's why this idea is dumb. Because the damage done to academia and the scientific community would be incomprehensible and far worse than a cover-up for something like this, okay? Like, this notion that you could cover something like this up, that you could just be like, nah, dude, it's actually, this was like a real fucking, this was a real situation, like, we're, that all of the random dipshits and the conspiracy theorists are actually correct, and the only reason why every one of the fucking academia, everyone involved in academia is just covering up because they're worried about, like, the American... They found bats at the lab, Hasan? Dude, these people are so dumb. I don't know how to respond to someone when they're so fucking stupid that they don't recognize that, of course, virology institutes are going to literally look at bats because bats are a massive transmitter. Like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do here. I'm gonna fucking ban you because of how fucking stupid you are and how excited you got. Like, you are looking at something that is not... You're looking at something that is innocuous and saying that, like, this is actually crazy because it's crazy to you because you're too stupid to understand and you haven't thought it through.
$1 billion, I mean, it's an industry because it's about research. And look, the core theme of our show is like follow the money, right? So follow the money. Where's the money lead? At least Fauci, Peter Daszak. And it's like, look, I don't want to sound crazy, but this is basically like a global conspiracy in terms of the Chinese government. It's a total cover-up of the Chinese government, the U.S. government.
What do you know? None of your parents are professors? Both of my parents are professors, so you're wrong, but I wouldn't ever fucking use an idiotic take like this. I wouldn't use that as idiotic justification for this.
The guy who was on the fucking TV and we were all supposed to trust this entire time, and it turns out like he's the guy who reversed the ban in the...
Why are you going in harder on Sagar than Krystal / Jen? What does / Jen mean? I see it all the fucking time. Because Krystal is supposedly a leftist. I mean, she is a leftist. She's way more left adjacent. Oh, genuine. Okay. I feel like it's like / Jen is the Zoomer version of Just Curious. And also, she's not the one who's saying psychotic shit right here.
First place in order to take advantage of the chaos under Trump. And I know it's so complicated.
From time to time,
and regular people, this is what bothers me most about the mainstream media. People want to live their lives and they want answers. And increasingly, they know they are being lied to, but they do not have the time because it's our job in order to, you know, explain all this about Peter Daszak and the World Health Organization, what is gain of function research, how Washington actually works, the global funding structures, etc. People are being lied to. They have been completely lied to on this story. I do think this is the biggest failure since Iraq WMD. I think this is WMD.
He said this, which is ironic because, like, the WMD lie was to justify the Iraq war, and he's literally trying to do what is happening in the Iraq war with China, okay? Which I find to be the most ironic sentiment expressed here because, like, he's literally like, I don't like that we, warmongered against Iraq under false assumptions, so now I'm going to warmonger against China. Like, he's one of the #1 China hawks in independent media, dude. It's crazy.
MD 2.0.
Catch new
which is hilarious. My criticisms of their show is